Good morning, friends. I hope you're having an awesome day so far. I wanted to briefly share with you what's happening with the DeepWardly School of Spiritual Direction. As many of you know, I launched my own school to train spiritual directors, and Cindy Shaw and I are the instructors. Between the two of us, we have an awful lot of years of practice in the skill of spiritual direction. We have a wealth of training as well as training and supervising spiritual directors, and I'm just so blessed that she has joined me in this process. Now, you may not know some of the details about our particular school. For years now, St. Scholastica's Monastery in Fort Smith has really been carrying the weight of spiritual direction ministry in Arkansas and even beyond Arkansas. Unfortunately, their program is coming to a conclusion, and I can't be any more grateful for what they have offered to the people of our state and beyond by their generous service in this ministry of spiritual direction and in training countless directors, both Catholic and non-Catholic, both clergy and lay and religious. It's just been phenomenal. Our own diocese, the Catholic Diocese of Little Rock, has had a spiritual direction training school. They've had one class, then they took a hiatus. I hear word through the grapevine that they are going to try to resurrect the program and offer another class sometime in the upcoming years. But there's clearly a need for training. And I know with the diocesan program, they only have it open to Catholics. Whereas the DeepWardly School of Spiritual Direction, much like the St. Scholastica's program, is open to people of all denominations and religions. Of course, we train directors in the evocative, contemplative method of spiritual direction within the Christian tradition and really from the perspective of Ignatian spirituality. So if the person's not Catholic, that's okay, but they are going to get it from a very specific point of view, and we're very clear about that in our materials. But we do take people from any denomination. We only can hold 6 students during our program each year, and it's a 2-year program. Now, that's shorter than some programs, and so some people have already asked, well, Tom, what's missing from your program that it's only 2 years instead of 3 or 4 or 5 years? Cindy and I have been in this ministry long enough to really be able to see what the deficiencies are in other programs, and programs, both Catholic and non-Catholic, from across the United States. Cindy and I have supervised students from those programs for years. So we see what it is that they're lacking when they come out of these programs. What we have found is a lot of those programs have a bunch of extra coursework around study, around learning, intellectual learning, reading lots of books, studying Christian classics. Yet their students often graduate feeling inept and inadequate in actually doing the art of spiritual direction. So our school has a greater emphasis on the first year being about personal formation. We want directors who are people of prayer, who have experienced a growing, deepening self-awareness. We can't be good spiritual directors without a particular depth of self-awareness, because our self-awareness as spiritual directors is the very container in which we hold the experiences of our directees who are sharing. So that first year is focused entirely on the personal transformation of our students, helping them and equipping them with the things that they need to grow in self-awareness and God awareness, to develop their own personal prayer life, to cultivate their own spirituality, their own theology. Then year 2, we focus entirely on the practice of spiritual direction. We want our students to graduate feeling confident and enabled and empowered to do the evocative contemplative method of spiritual direction, which is not easy, and it takes a tremendous amount of energy, but it also seems to bear the greatest fruit for directees out of all the different methods of spiritual direction that are taught. And that's why most schools in the United States teach some form of the evocative contemplative method. If you know of anyone who is interested in becoming a spiritual director, it doesn't matter what religion or denomination they are, if you know someone, or if you know someone who they've never even mentioned being a spiritual director, but you have witnessed within them the deep compassion, faith, spirituality, second half of life. Okay, we've talked before about the difference between that first half of life, spirituality and psychology, and the second half of life. We're looking for students who are living into that second half of life, spirituality and psychology. If you know men and women like that, you might reach out to them and say, hey, have you ever thought about being trained as a spiritual director? Because I know a school that's local in Central Arkansas, and our classes are taught here at Cedar Ridge in Central Arkansas. So once a month for a couple of years, those students would either have to travel here or if they live nearby would come here for classes on a Friday evening and all day Saturday. That's once a month. But if you know people who might be interested in that, please don't hesitate to pass on my contact information for them. We already have students applying for the school, so I expect that the class will fill up pretty soon, probably within the next 2 or 3 months. And so if you know of people, you let them know and have them reach out to me soon. And please keep the DeepWardly School of Spiritual Direction in your thoughts and prayers. And I hope you have an amazing day.